All right, let's get down to the Gloat podcast, episode 19 of the Mr. Gloat podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We have about several updates to talk about for you, ladies and gentlemen, and a lot of funny information and interesting information I have been looked up online, which is so out of crazy town. And it's really amazing to talk about this stuff, and I hope you viewers enjoy this podcast because for the next probably 1 hour right now, it's going to be a great podcast with several topics that we're going to talk about. Well, 7 of them will go by quickly than you can expected. So let's talk about the first 4 topics, which will go by in 7 minutes right now, because there's nothing much to talk about information here other than controversy and somewhat information that's about to happen in the near future. The first topic I'd like to talk about is that the Olympic Games are going to begin tomorrow on July the 26th, and it will end on August the 11th. It will be taking place in Paris, France. I like to point this out. I don't know what professional boxers are going to be there or what athletic players are, who's going to participate in the long jump, who's going to do ping pong, who's going to represent Canada for becoming a water polo. I can't really tell about that. So it's going to be interesting. I might as well just keep it to myself and see what boxers in the heavyweight division are going to be in the super heavyweight. But speaking about the second topic, which will be professional boxing, is going to be the one and only Richard Torres. So Richard Torres is now ranked number 33 in BoxRec as we speak. And ever since he was like 9-0 at the time, since March of 29th, since his last win against Donald Hainsworth, the guy known for not throwing a single good punch against Dempsey McKean, which we can already tell how crappy that fight was, gets him in the first round. His win against Brandon Moore gets him back in the top ranks. He was only rated around number 200 to 100 over at the time, while his Olympic gold medalist winner in the 2020 Olympic Games from the country of Uzbekistan, Jalalov, is still doing amateur boxing. But in all fairness, some of the countries in the eastern areas and Russian still do amateur boxing even when they're professional. So he's been a professional since 2018. Richard done it since 2022, so he's been professional for 2 years, which was several months after his loss. And mostly, Jalalov has done an interesting job. His win against Curtis Harper last November 2022 was an interesting win, or Jack Mulloway, and his 2 first-round knockout wins against interesting competitors in 2023 were interesting. It is interesting how he knocked out Curtis Harper in round 4, only for Richard Torres to knock out Curtis Harper in round 8 in the final round. So it goes to think to yourself, who's playing the smart cards here? Who's going to take on the rankings? Even though the third topic I'm talking about is pretty much, are these guys going to be having a chance to think about fighting for a title shot the same way how Anthony Joshua became gold medalist in 2012, only before the 2016 Olympic Games started? He became heavyweight champion since April. Are we going to see that from these guys? Technically, no. Technically, my only question is, are we going to see them fight for a heavyweight champion in 2025, which was almost like 3 years after the Japan Olympic Games? Well, to be honest, that might be possible, because as of right now, we actually heard reports right here that for the last several days right now, Alexander Usyk has been reported of going to a, mostly for a couple information here. The third topic for Alexander Usyk is that he's actually gone to a hospital out in the areas of Ukraine. We actually heard information that for the last several days, he actually went to a Winston Churchill as in a British support into a Winston at the time, which was actually 6 hours ago as making this podcast. But originally, he already went to a area to support a children's hospital area, which was taken down by an airstrike at the time. But for the last several days, he did stated that even after he defends his belt against Tyson Fury in December, he might retire in boxing to fight against Conor McGregor in the heavyweight division of bare knuckle fight, bare knuckle boxing. That might be pretty interesting to watch. I think Tyson Fury might. I don't think he might defeat Alexander Usyk in December, but hey, he might win back his belts. For Alexander Usyk, I might see an interesting change here, because if Alexander Usyk does go bare knuckle, goes undefeated with Tyson Fury in his 23rd professional fight in December, who knows? But yet again, I still say to this, I just don't see that happening. I just don't see the fight happening, and to be honest, I just think it's best for Usyk to just drop it. Yet again, it depends on the money, because the money was like 70 to 30% of money for Fury and Usyk in the first fight, question mark. So, yet again, if it's about the money, well, who knows? The fourth and final quick topic I like to talk about is on July the 26th, on the same day in Houston, Texas. Live is going to be the PBA and PWBA Striking Against Breast Cancer Mixed Doubles, a.k.a. the LUCI. We are going to have PBA and PWBA members performing 3 days of bowling in the mixed doubles. On July the 26th and 27th will be practice, and on July the 28th will be live on Bow TV. So if anyone has video footages to record them on YouTube, please don't hesitate. But on July the 31st, we're going to go to Jonesboro, Arkansas for the PBA, PBA 50, and the PWBA Jonesboro Trios. They'll have a 2-day practice competition in July 31st to August the 1st. The pattern will be the Amuleto Monticelli pattern. On August the 2nd, they'll also have a tournament, and mostly we won't have another tournament fight until August the 31st in the Storm Lucky Larson Masters, which will be the first day of practice until September the 8th. But yes, guys, the Jonesboro competition is going to have three players in each of one team from PBA to PBA 50 and PWBA. It's going to be an entertaining match, and I just hope there's going to be footage on YouTube to watch it, because I can't wait to watch it. So anyway, guys, we're at the 7-minute mark of this podcast, and considering that's all I have to say, so I only have like 3 more topics to talk about, because these topics are going to be really funny for me to talk about. Depending on what I'm talking about, well, I really can't tell you, viewers, what I have to talk about. But yet again, it is going to be really interesting. It's going to be really fun to talk about. So, if I was you, I would just stand back, relax, and just see what happens. That's all I could say. All right. The first topic I like to talk about as for competition is Gerard Gorget. Gerard Gorget, for the last several months ago, I already reviewed UFC 1, talking about the new beginning and how Gerard Gorget managed to push his way through defeating a sumo fighter, Tylee Tui, and then he takes on an overweight meat of a guy that was off his meds named Kevin Rozier, rest in peace, only to lose against Royce Gracie. When you look at the competition from fullness, it's going to be interesting, because Gerard Gorget's career would just be out of the ring entirely after that moment. But not without saying there's any chances that something crazy will happen. So in 1995, we already have a tournament known as the Valley Tudo Japan Open. Interesting. The Valley Tudo Japan Open, which was somewhat of an interesting MMA division, 1994 to 2013. It barely almost lasted around a long time right now, with great fighters and undefeated fighter of Royce Gracie's quote-unquote other brother at the time. Wasn't much of an MMA star at the time, but technically after this moment, it was the best. The Valley Tudo Japan tournament of 1995 was interesting enough. 1994 represented Rickson Gracie as Royce Gracie's cousin. It stated on reports that he's had over several hundred matches in his career around the time back in the old days due to matches against Ria Zulu at 20. Gracie was pitting on high-profile competition in Brasilia against some interesting competition. It stated that as his time, he experienced the competition being supposedly 270-0 at the time, despite the size difference of his competition. So, depending on that, you viewers can tell. But his undefeated record goes by this. He's already had a lot of... his only jiu-jitsu records in his career was in 1981 from 1988, only having 8 wins undefeated. He fought in 1980 and 94 against Ree Zulu and went undefeated to fight 10 years later, this time in the Valley. He won the 1994 Valley tournament, which I might talk about in another podcast. And I might talk about this 1995 tournament in another segment some other time in the future. But this whole story talks about Gerard Gorget in his last ever MMA fight against Yuki Nakai. Now, Yuki Nakai, on the other hand, considering how Gerard Gorget went on, Yuki Nakai already suffered his first loss in November of 93 in a Shuto at the time, which was somewhat of an event division, but he managed to recover from 94. He got a draw, but it didn't stop him from fighting on, he won the Shuto welterweight champion in a 4-round decision in a 4-minute fight. 4 minutes of 4-round fights, so yeah, take that for what you will. He already went on the tournament and won another fight, but then he enters in this tournament with his first fight, Gerard Gorget. Now, the first fight competition ended with Craig Pittman defeating Wayne Edmonds, which at the time was the first fight ending in submission fights at the time. Mostly at 2 minutes and 12 seconds. So the first fight went on fastly. But like I said, I'll talk about the other tournaments in a later time. But this tournament, I'm not going to talk about the commentary. I'm only going to talk about the fights and itself. And at the end of the day, who cares about the commentary? This fight, now in MMA fighting, guys, at the time, MMA fights can go a long distance away in fights. And you want to know how long this fight was? This fight went at a distance. Like, this fight went a long time. Like, if you had to count from watching the YouTube video, it started at 11 minutes and it ended at almost at 39 minutes and 50-something seconds at the end. That's how long the fight was. It was almost a half an hour. The fight ended with over a big competition of rounds. Now, Yuki Nakai, like I said before, he was a skinny type dude, but he can almost handle himself in any situation. Gerard Gorget is past his prime. He's 40 years old. So it was possible that this fight was going to end either way. This fight started crazy. Yuki attacked Gerard quicker than Gracie. He grabs him, he clinches him to the ropes, he's putting in heads and this or that. And just to let you viewers know, the competition of the division is that these fights last longer than you expect. Like, for the next couple, like, several minutes, like, Gerard is holding him on down with his rope, putting him right here, and he has his left arm grabbed around the rope, and he's holding him this way with his head locked in. And the guy he's holding it, but it's you can tell it was really, like, it wasn't boring, but just let you viewers know, when it's an MMA fight, this wasn't in an octagon like UFC. This was a 4-corner ring, ropes and turnbuckles. Well, not turnbuckles in wrestling, but you know the type of pads that they use in boxing ring, turnbuckles. So that's what you have in this ring. So you can tell how Gerard was just holding down Nakai. This fight, I don't know what to say. This fight lasted longer than any other fight in the tournament. And you want to know how long? 5 of these 7 fights in the tournament ended in round 1. 1 ended in round 2. This fight went to 4 rounds. That's crazy. This fight went on to last around probably 26 to 28 minutes. 25 to 28 minutes is how long this fight went. So you can tell how long the fight was starting. Like this fight just went on faster than craziness. I really don't know how to explain it to you. It's how long it went. Like at this moment, the fight, these rounds and minutes weren't 5 minutes. They were not 5-minute rounds. They were a little bit longer than you expect, which I'm sure some people do know. If you have watched Pride, then you know how long the fights are. But this division's different. But yet again, there were some similarities because we're in Japan. Anyway, around like 6 minutes into the fight, because I actually had a timer timing how long the fight was, because the video and the quality and the production at the time didn't have a timer of how long the fight was or how much time it had left, so I had to put an own timer. So around 6 minutes and 10 seconds of the fight, Yuki already has his rope stuck on, and he's getting his head and his right ear, and Gerard's just putting him in straight into there. He throws a couple punches, and then after trying to grab onto him around the 6 minute mark, it was a really hard fight to watch when you say how long it was. Like a couple minutes went by after that, and then around 8 minutes, like 8 minutes of the fight, Gerard goes straight to him, and it almost looks like he was about to bite him or he was sniffing him, question mark. Like at 8 minutes, like Gerard goes on, grabs him, then he turns his head like this, looks at the referee, and I don't know if the referee was talking to him, so what does he do? At first, I thought he was kissing his forehead, or he was just, I don't know what the hell he was doing, and the referee is just doing this for some reason, for what the hell? I just didn't understand. Like, this is the last fight for Gerard Gorget's career, and this is what happens? Like, what the hell? And then the bell rang after that, but yet again, so technically, guys, viewers get what it is. So just to let you viewers know, this whole tournament and competition, the rounds are like 8 minutes long for each round. So just point that out. So the bell was already ringing at the time. And then in round two starts, and out of nowhere, Yuki goes for a left kick, but then he goes for a left kick, like left kick here, but then his right leg falls off to the ground. I don't know if he slipped or just tripped away. Gerard throws a right punch, misses, and then throws a right kick almost to his groin. And now he's grabbing onto him, and Yuki's wrapping up his legs, keeping his right leg there that he stepped on. Like, what the heck is going on? And Gerard is throwing everything he has onto him to end this fight. And I'm like, dude, how is this fight not over? Yuki's on the ground holding for dear life. And it is ridiculous because, guys, there is going to be another video. And, guys, remember when I talked about Dan Severn and Matsunaga and how that fight went on in '96 for Dan Severn's 13th win in his MMA career? Thinking when that fight was a fix? Man, guys, I almost thought this was a fixed fight, but yet again, I really can't tell. Considering it is 1995 in Japan, so who knows what's catch wrestling and what's this or that. And I did saw a YouTube channel of a guy talking about how Japan wrestling and MMA might, yeah. But, yeah, there is going to be another interesting piece of video I'm going to talk about in this podcast, so stay tuned. Anyway, he gets on, he lets go of his legs, and Yuki tries to roll out of the ring, mitts on, and Gerard's punching him on. He goes near the middle second rope of the white rope because the white rope is the middle, the bottom rope is blue, and the top rope is red. He goes between the red and the white, and he's just throwing punches on like nothing. And someone in the audience is stopping him, putting his hands on there, they're like pushing him back. Like, because I think the rule is you're not supposed to do that. So they bring two of these referees over. They grab the guy's legs in a horrible sexual position. Jesus. But, of course, that's when I later realized the rule was that, well, I'm sure I don't have to tell you, viewers. Like, there is some information of MMA at the time that they have that, where they have, where wrestlers and referees have to interfere a match and stop because it's illegal to fight outside of the ring, or if an opponent is about to roll out of the ring or something, so they bring the person back. So I love that these two referees climb out of the ring and just grab this. It was ridiculous. So they restart the match. Gerard is putting his hands up, just waiting for something dumb to happen, and Yuki's putting out his left leg. Referee says start, and just Gerard kicks. And and after he kicks, he just puts his hands like this. The referee's losing out his mind. He's doing this, and it was ridiculous. For the next minutes, it's just this guy Yuki laying on his back, protecting his legs and such, just like the Johnny Rhodes fight versus Fred Edish in UFC 2, of how that guy was kicking Johnny Rhodes' legs. And well, this was completely different. This was completely different than that match. It was just ridiculous. Like, for the last minutes, it's just him laying on the ground and Gerard just going counterclockwise, and he's doing nothing. Like, there's camera angles of Yuki. Sometimes Yuki's they get a close shot of his eye being swollen, and it was just ridiculous. Like, this guy, at this moment, I'm like, this has to be a work. This has to be, this can't be real. Like, why is Gerard not going for the attack? Like, he's just kicking his legs, and every time Yuki picks up his leg, sometimes Gerard will kick it. Like, what is going on? He just lets him lay there and let the guy stand there for over several minutes. It's ridiculous. The bell rings, and that's it. Like, what is going on here? I came to review Gerard Gorget's entire MMA career. I already did 75% of his 3 fights in UFC 1, and this 25% in his last fight in this show. What am I watching? It's like, I didn't understand. I just didn't like this match. After 2 rounds, I was like, and guys, I had to skip pressing the button 5 times of skipping the video, and it's just the same exact stuff over and over again. Just, it was lame. It was bored. The 3rd round starts, they both clinch onto each other, and back to that first round incident where Gerard this time he puts his right arm around the rope, does this, and hugs him on, and again, they do the same exact thing over and over again. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, they just hold on for an amount of time right now, just grappling on each other into the rope, and it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And just so you viewers know, Yuki, like guys, Yuki is like 24 years old at the time when he was involved in this match. And he's a 5'6" dude. 5'6", pretty much. Gerard Gorget is this 6'5" friggin', he's 11 inches tall. He's big. And he's not putting a lot of offense on this guy. Like, I don't understand what his point is. What is he trying to do? So they grapple on, and then so Yuki goes behind Gerard and finally gets a grab on him. And then he tries to push him near the ropes. He gets about a few feet to the corner of one of the corners, and they manage to get close to each other, bumping into it. So pretty much, what else can you say about that? But at this moment, we're almost, like, is there anything you can say about it? Like, at this moment, like I'm already counting it up at this moment, and I know I haven't talked about how much time it's been right now, but like 6 minutes into this 3rd round, with only a couple minutes left of it, a couple more minutes left of this round, like, finally Gerard is finally punching him in the back of the head and trying to get some stuff done, but yeah, again, there's nothing to be done for. He's doing it again. Like, they're just clinching each other. They're doing nothing. They're just hugging. And Gerard's punching. I don't get it. Why? Is this fight a shoot or work? I don't understand. I hate every bit of this match. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And then suddenly, with only 1 minute left of the round, Yuki tries to grab onto his right leg, Gerard's leg, while in the corner. And then so he kind of grabs on and turns around a little bit and gets him caught to the ropes. But yet again, and there's a camera angle which cuts to him hugging onto him with, like I said, he has a swollen face already. And Gerard, he doesn't seem hurt to me. It was so like, dude, what am I watching? It was just crazy. And then the round ends when he tries to knee him or something, but the camera can't catch it, and he's already under the top of the red rope. So Gerard bashes it a few times, and the bell rings. Mostly Yuki gets out of that corner, but he still gets hit one more time, and that's it. At this moment, they also bring out to the ring, and before the fourth round, we have a guy that's now trying to put tape or something around Gerard's right thumb. And at this moment, I was like, oh, God, is this how the fight's going to end? And we later realized that Gerard already has a busted thumb right now, so they try to tape it. The camera cuts to a shot of ice bag on Yuki's right eye, and then the camera cuts to the fourth round. The fourth round goes by at the end with nothing to talk about. Like, this time they're both hanging each other. Yuki's picking up his left leg a lot. He's doing this, and now he's throwing on punches. Gerard is just studying himself like a boxer. Like, he throws punches and punches. Like, Gerard is like a boxer. Like, that's what he should have been. And Yuki is studying onto his opponent, like he's studying, and then he trips him on. He tries to grab onto his legs, grabs him on, and then they go to the corner rope again, the white one again, like they did in the third round, and he holds him on again. God almighty. Like, this is the most boringest match you can ever say. Nothing good is happening. They're grappling onto each other again, and then at this moment, like, Gerard is over the top rope, and then it almost looked like Yuki was trying to grab on to Gerard's broken right thumb, like he was trying to grab onto his arm, but he sticks it out of the ring, out of reach for some reason. I didn't understand. And then a camera cuts to the bottom again, where he's still bear hugging him, like friggin' Hurricane doing a super bear hug on Kane. For some reason, the Hurricane match versus Kane, it's he's doing a super bear hug on him. It's not working. So the match ends as when Gerard is finally putting a headlock on to Yuki and still hugging. The match ends where Yuki steps on the bottom blue rope with his left foot. He holds him down, and suddenly he grabs on and he falls. He grabs onto part of Gerard's leg as he did in the second round, and so what does Gerard do? Well, he's still holding on to him, but it's about it. The match is about to end when Gerard is finally, like, he's hanging. Like, what makes this moment interesting is that Gerard is hanging on. He's grabbing onto the right rope with his right hand, and he's holding on. Like, there's no way Yuki will grab him. Like, Yuki's trying to twist him so he can fall to the ground. And guess what? It worked. Gerard hits the ground the second time in his MMA career after Royce Gracie brought him down in the finals in UFC 1. Yuki Nakai, the last guy, would bring down the 6'5" Netherlands giant down to the ground, and instead of giving up, he decides to just tap out a second after he hit the ground. And I'm like, what the hell did I just watch? I don't understand what the heck that was all about. Yuki twists out his leg, Gerard hits the ground, and he just taps. Like, this had to be a work match. It just had to be because of it. And you want to know what's more ridiculous? after that Craig Pittman fight and such, and we did have other fighters like Todd Hayes, Koichiro Kimura, Rickson Gracie defending his tournament win and taking on with Yoshisha Yamamoto. And of course, I'll get to those later. Yuki Nakai would defeat Craig Pittman in 2 rounds at 7 minutes and 32 seconds before the second round and defeat him to go to the finals. Yuki was badly hurt in this fight. He still won the semifinals to go to the finals. Spoiler alert, he lost against Rickson Gracie at 6 minutes and 22 seconds of the first round. So, yeah. Pretty much. and Yuki Nakai never fought again in MMA again. And Gerard Gorget, that was his last ever MMA fight as well. As for Rickson Gracie, well, he would continue on. He wouldn't fight again until 2.5 years later, until Pride 1 in October of 1997. Come back 365 days later in Pride 4, win again. Fight in May 26, 2000 in a special rules match where knees, elbow strikes were forbidden, and he won that last match and retired undefeated with 11-0. 2 knockouts and 9 submissions, undefeated in MMA. Ridiculous. Okay, so for the 6th topic, guys, I do have to talk about controversy. And I think, guys, we all have to talk about controversy. Guys, I was going to think about talking about Muslim Gagomedov defeating Zhao Xingjiang for the WBA Bridgerweight title, but because there isn't no footage, there's only a 2-minute footage of round 4 and how controversial and just bad when it comes to the Bridgerweight, and just saying how, but it was going to be too controversial if I was going to talk about it. So I am going to go down. I'm going to go down a few extra weeks and talk about a Brazilian fighter that brought down an amazing win, and now he is back in action as a professional boxer that just brought in an upset win, and now he's #1 in his country. Robson Kansiaka defeating Oshaku Foster. I might say their names wrong, but it doesn't matter because this fight on July the 6th, 2024, live on Bob Arum Promotions in New Jersey, this fight, it was shocking. Guys, Robson, guys, I'm not going to talk about the fight in 12 rounds because there's nothing entertaining about it. Because Foster won the fight easily. Guys, Robson's career wasn't much to talk about. He had some interesting wins. He traveled to America to fight, and he did. He won on fights. He fought a couple times in this country in 2019 and 2020. He lost against Oscar Valdez by an interesting fight, which he lost points by hitting in the back of the head and for the WBC World Super Featherweight. And came back a year later, won a fight, but then lost against Shakur Stevenson, the guy that some people find boring. He had a no contest, a draw in 2023. He takes on a nobody, and now he's like, and his third title fight was the draw against Emmanuel Navarrete in November of 2023. So he's had 3 title fights. His career is done for. This was a bummed fight. Now, Foster's boxing career is no different. Like, he's already faced himself on. Like, he's had problems in his early time as well. Like, he managed to win fights against nobodies. He lost against a guy that was his first tough opponent and proved himself he was not ready. Even a year later, he wasn't ready when he lost against another guy. But by the end of 2016, he never lost another fight again. He came back over a year later, won fights, and then he managed to pick himself up again and become a good fighter. A WBC World Super Featherweight title. He defeated Ray Vargas, good fight. Fought a defense title in October. Took on a fight in November. And even though he got controversialized a little bit, even though as he barely won the fight in February, even though that was an interesting fight nonetheless, it was a close fight. This fight right here was not close. Like, guys, I added round 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And mostly round 4, but still, it depends. Because... So I gave 11 rounds to 1 for Foster. Round 5 had to be the better round for Robson. considering how round 4 was some controversial stuff, this or that, but it's bad. Like, Judge 1, Ron McNair, gave Foster round 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, and 12. 116 to 112 for Foster. Paul Wallace, he gave Robson round 2, 3, 4, 5, and then he gave him round 8. And so that means we're 5 rounds apiece after 10 rounds. So he gave him the last 2 rounds to get 115 to 113. But Tony Lundy, what the heck? He gave Foster only round 1 and round 2. Round 9 and round 10. Which all 3 judges scored those last rounds favored. But man, the last 3, even the 3 judges scored all round 11 and round 12 for Robson. Even though except round 12 for Ron, but still. Like, Tony Lundy gave round 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He gave him 6 rounds from round 3 to round 8. And then round 11 to round 12 for 116 and 112 for Robson. This fight was so controversial for dumb stuff. And guys, I will say this though. Robson did have some good offense once in a while. He was doing an okay job, but he wasn't landing a lot of punches. He couldn't find the marks. Yes, in round 8, there's a time that Foster had problems, but dude, Robson, like, this is so bad. It was so bad. And even though round 11, round 12, he tried to finish off strong, but Foster just, he did a tiny bit better than him. He won the rounds easily. It's so dumb when you get to see this fight. You look back at it today and you think to yourself, this is just, like, you don't think it could get any bad. But guys, I want you viewers to understand one thing. Now, first of all, let me describe this for you viewers in a, how do I describe it? Let me describe it in this fashion. Now, guys, if you're a judge in boxing, some of you fans that do watch judges, you have to understand this. Now, guys, NASCAR 2003 season. Now, pretend that this is a ring. This right here, the black, this represents the commentators commentating in the fight, where they're from. These corner rings represent referee 1, referee 2, and referee 3. In boxing, they have one each referee refereeing, well, judging is what I meant to say. There's 3 judges and 1 from each area judging the fight. So it's possible that you can say to yourself that, oh, this judge had more of an eye because he wasn't paying attention to the fight more because there were punches that were more exposed, but these 2 judges couldn't see it and the commentators could. But yet again, it was obvious. There's no way that he had a chance of winning. It was bad, and I hate every bit of it, and I hate talking about this, even though this is the second last topic. And you know what, guys? I'm just going to ignore this one and just pretend I didn't talk about this, even though I did, because I look back at it, guys, and I just say to myself, God almighty, why did I get myself into this? So, all this time for the weekend. It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. It even makes my nose itch because I'm talking too much. Anyway, so the final topic today, guys, I already talked about this, about the Dan Severn Matsunuga, and talk about how Gerard Gorget, but losing against Yuki Nakai for God knows what. But this fight, after watching Gerard Gorget fight, and now this, guys, I have a headache. Guys, someone actually said in the comments, actually showed me this video. He told me about how he found it really funny that I was making fun of Dan Severn Matsunuga, and he commented, you want to see another fight that you're never going to forget? He told me, and I told him, what's the fight called? He told me what it was. It was called Gabby Garcia versus Yumika Hata. And I said, and he gave me a link and footage, and I said, thanks, or this or that. I clicked on it. It was 11 minutes and 49 seconds, and this fight, God almighty, this is, I don't know what to tell you, viewers. This fight is so, Oh, God, I just couldn't talk about this anymore. Guys, this might take me 20 minutes. I might get through 1 hour of this podcast, and I'm still going to talk about this for 20 minutes. Oh, God, it's so bad. Okay, guys, let's get down to this, guys. When I look up MMA, guys, there's a lot of MMA promotions out there, and this one is no different. It's ridiculous, and I'm going to read it on. Now, I already typed in information on my computer right now, and I wrote so much details about this fight. Oh, but man, it's so ridiculous. And thank God there's American commentary talking about this, because I just don't know what they have to say about this. So the promotion is called Risen Fighting Federation. It premiered back in December 31st, 2015, and it already debuted Gabby Garcia as one of the people that were involved in the first ever Risen show in December 31st, 2015. They fought on a few other shows, but originally it was debuted on December the 29th in Satami 1, Part 1. So this was Part 2 of a tournament, Grand Prix tournament. It was a Grand Prix tournament mostly, and Gabby was in Part 2 of the tournament. So keep that in mind. Of course, they had a few other shows at the time, and Gabby managed to fight through a good amount of competition. She did an okay job. Her original name was Gabrielle Gabby Lamos Garcia. She's 6'2". She was born in November 17, 1985. So she's a really old woman at this moment. She was 31 years old. So she's 31 years old at the time, and she's already won up a bunch of Pan Am championships at her time in 2010 in California, 2012 and 13, 14, and even 2015 and 2012 and 12 going in California World Championships as a buck. It's very crazy. Anyway, but she would also go on to ADCC World Champion 2011, get gold again in Beijing in 2013, get bronze in her country, which is disappointing for her country, but she would get gold in 2017 in Finland and in California in 2019. So she earned a lot of interesting respect. But of course, her fourth professional fight is against Yumika Hotta. This woman, 5'6", she is a professional wrestler. She debuted as a debut fighter in All Japan Wrestling since June 5th, 1985, months before Gabby Garcia was born. So you can already tell how joking it is. She had some champions in her time, and UWA and WWA tag champs and such, and world singles champs. It's ridiculous. And she already had to do a hair versus hair match one time against someone named Norma Martinez in 2012, and how friggin' ridiculous that was. She did become an MMA fighter in 95, but she lost in her second fight, but won other fights again, lost in 96, and lost a fight in 2000. She retired. She came back in 2012 fighting for a deep women's openweight champion, but lost against Amanda Lucas. And now, 4.5 years later, she's fighting this fight. So the rules for the Risen female rules is that all 3 rounds are 5 minutes. Kicks, knees to the head of a downed opponent are legal. But elbows to the head are not permitted. Mostly, it's about it. And guys, before I played the video and even did that, I paused on to one of the first frame of the video, and the first frame shows Gabby, nice, well-built woman, everything, but behind onto her right shoulder wait, what the hell am I watching? This woman's trainer is a guy holding onto a towel and a water bottle, which Yumika also has another trainer that's holding onto a bottle and a red blanket sheet as well. So God knows what the hell they're holding on for that. What's their point if they're not going to give their fighters water, or what the frig is the towel all about? It's a handkerchief. But Gabby's trainer is a jackass guy with a fucking cowboy hat and a friggin' big-ass mustache. Friggin' fluffy. It's fucking ridiculous. It almost looks like he's dressing up for a PBR professional bull riding event. It's fucking ridiculous. And not only that, the camera, like, they both walk up to their opponents. The referee is bald, but Yumiko's trainer also is a woman with blonde hair, short blonde hair like me, and she's wearing a yellow jacket. Okay, guys, I'm going to tell you viewers this. If I talk about Gabby Garcia's trainer with the cowboy hat, I'm going to call him Crocodile Dundee. If I talk about Yumiko's trainer with the blonde, short hair like me, I'm going to call her SpongeBob. But she also has another trainer with beautiful brunette-type hair, also wearing a yellow jacket. So if I talk about her, the one holding onto the red sheet and water as well, I'm going to call her Patrick Starr. Just keep that in mind, okay? Just keep that in mind. So the referee tests them up, this or that, tells them this not to do. The camera, it cuts to Gabby. Well, mostly it does cut to Yumiko first, somewhat breathing a little bit, and then it cuts to Gabby with a straight face. She's not moving her body as much. She shakes her head a little bit. And then the camera cuts to mostly Yumiko, a 49-year-old. She's 49 years old, taking on a 31-year-old female. And by the way, Yumiko Hata would not turn 50 until January the 10th. She's 10 days before her 50th birthday. And she's already breathing. She sticks out her tongue like this, or for some reason, I don't know what the hell. And she's breathing on, moving. And then the camera cuts to Gabby. And then the camera cuts back to Hata. Again, this time putting her cheeks like this. Like, again. And then the camera cuts to a wide, good section of the ring. Referee rings the bell. They both turn to the left, study each other. And friggin' Gabby Garcia is a 6'2" Brazilian woman. Frig me. And she's wearing beautiful pink shorts. No offense. So, and as they're both studying each other, what does the first person that does the dumb thing is Yumiko. Instead of charging after her opponent, she charges to the first half ring, bounces, and runs to the other side of the ring, and bounces again. I'm like, is she doing the Ultimate Warrior, of how the Ultimate Warrior runs rope to rope to rope to rope, and then he dives, and like he did against Randy Macho Man Savage in the end of WrestleMania 7, due to the finish of that match, of every time he runs back and forth, and then like, that's not what Yumiko was doing. Like, she runs rope to the first, she runs to the other section of the rope corner, and run a corner of the other rope. Gabby sees her doing it a second time, so when she does it a third time, Gabby knows that she's going to do it to the other side where she started. The referee at this moment, like, he was at the other side of the rope, so he was in a safe position, but he did back up a few steps when she ran to the third rope. Gabby notices what she's doing, and about 9 seconds into the fight, she grabs part of her body like this, wrangles her up, knees her, punches her, and now she stops. She backs her up to the ropes again. Yumiko does throw an interesting kick or so, but Gabby pushes her on. She gets to the back of the rope, and then she's trying to run away, and Gabby's just, get you little bit of... She knees her in the right again. It's like, frig me, this is ridiculous. She's putting out this or that is what Hata's doing. Turning around, Gabby gets another knee, and I'm looking at the left corner. SpongeBob with the yellow jacket is telling her opponent to start fighting. She's doing this. She ducks back again. There's no point of her fighting. Just what is Yumiko's trainer trying to tell her right now? Just, is she trying to tell her to take a dive? What the hell? So Gabby's throwing out punches. She takes her down, and as she falls to the ground, she punch. Referee stops it at friggin' how long was the fight again? Oh, let me look it up. 41 seconds, which is interesting because when I saw the video, it said that, well, yeah, the fight did end in 41 seconds. I forgot. It stopped at 4 minutes and 19 seconds. Anyway, the camera cuts on to her bloody mouth. She's bleeding. Camera cuts to Gabby. Winner, Gabby on the screen. She crouches to her opponent, this or that. She gets her hands raised. A beautiful woman is holding on to a trophy. But before that, we see this, a camera cuts into the audience with a person. I thought it was a man at first because the person almost looked like had a weird hairdo. Like, almost like that character from, I don't know if it was like, it was a, I don't want to call it a Chris Farley SNL sketch or something. I forgot what the hairdo. I don't even know who I'm talking about anymore. But this person had weird, like somewhat brownish hair, slicked this way or for some reason in the middle to it. And this woman that was a woman with wearing a red jacket with gray sleeves, and she's just looking back, and I'm like, okay. Like, I almost thought she was somewhat of a weird celebrity or something, but it was somewhat creepy. I almost thought she was actually part of Ninja Warrior at first, from Kunoichi back in the old days. This is why I almost thought that woman was. But anyway, the camera cuts back. SpongeBob and Patrick are in the ring. Gabby gets taking pictures with a beautiful woman next to her with a yellow strap or something around the woman's neck for some reason, whatever it was. Still, they shake hands, they hug. And mostly they're trainers. Well, Yumiko's trainers somewhat congratulate her on. But now, as they do it, they're finally throwing on each other. They announce the winner of the match. And suddenly Yumiko's trainer, SpongeBob, is trying to say, let's go at it for some reason, which I don't know why. So they gave the mic to her. They announced the winner. She says so much. She says, as a foreign, she's happy. She's happy to be here. I love Japan. I love everyone else. The crowd applauds. They also have a female translator, but at one point they had a male translator, question mark. I don't know. But anyway, still, thank you for everything else. I thank you. Arigato, everything else. Telling everything else. For everything else, I'm here to stay. It was an interesting speech. Like, she even says 4 fights in 1 year. I love this place. I love Japan. This is my home. It was interesting. And then suddenly I thought the fight was over. But when I thought the show was over, they shake hands. She shakes hands to her opponent again. She bows again. Her cowboy buddy, Crocodile Dundee, is walking back and forth, waiting for something to happen. At this moment, I thought they were just about to walk out of the ring. But then I realized we still have 7 minutes left of this video. They show a replay of Yumiko bouncing back rope to rope again, and then knees again. They show a replay of a referee having a like I didn't know the referee had a camera around it, because they show a replay of the cameraman of the referee's perspective on a camera wherever it was. I never saw it, and it shows her beating her up into the ropes and how the fight ended and knocks her to the ground, like almost like the referee cam. And of course, Yumiko gets the mic. She apologizes, represents her country. She's sorry for whatever happened. And then SpongeBob takes the mic, talks, like, for some reason. And then they walk out, or so we thought. And at around 5 minutes and 55 seconds, a random woman named Jazzy Alpha Female with this crazy mohawk, side cuts just like my hair, only with her hair being slayed back, which is a pretty interesting hairstyle. She walks out, says congratulations, Gabby John. I think she said Gabby John. Wanted to congratulate you one more time for this big win. Congratulations. And Gabby tries to shake her hand for some reason, and then her trainer, Crocodile Dundee, this time he has the towel around his shoulder but still has a water bottle, which he doesn't, I don't know if he drinks or he lets her drink it. He gives her the mic, and at this moment, the first time I watched this, I was like, there's no way Gabby wants to be involved with this. I don't know if Gabby wanted to be involved with this bullcrap of what this woman was saying with this black suit on, sweatshirt on, hoodie, and blue sweatpants, saying that I'm going to kick your ass. It was just, she didn't even give her time to even talk in the mic. I'm like she wants to beat her, she wants to fight her, and Gabby grabs the mic, talks crap about this or that, and they just get face-to-face to each other for the last several minutes, and then the referee steps in, stops it, Gabby slaps her face a little bit, tells her to come on, and then she even takes the mic away, but suddenly someone sticks the mic to her to talk back. And then suddenly, as that happens, SpongeBob SquarePants and Yumiko intervene for God knows what the heck. At this moment, I'm looking at how long the video is, and we still have 4 more damn minutes left of this video. I look back, I'm like, what is going on here? And I even look at how Yumiko's trainer even pushes Gabby at one point. She goes back and tries to stop the other. They grab the mic, and she tries to talk. SpongeBob tries to talk when someone gives her the mic. But as that moment happens, Gabby goes by them and tries to punch them up. Like, what is going on here? Is this supposed to be a legit shoot MMA promotion or what? Guys, I don't know much about the promotion Risen like I do Pride or neither the Valet tournament promotion. So someone let me know in the comments, does this thing happen often in the promotion of Risen? What the heck is going on? Is this supposed to be a legit promotion or someone acting like a WWE thing? Like, what is going on here? They fight onto each other. They're grabbing on rope to rope. And then suddenly Yumiko's other trainer, Patrick Starr, comes in and tries to grab on the SpongeBob behind the back. It was like, what is going on? Like, this woman, that woman didn't want nothing to do with. She didn't want, like, Patrick Starr didn't have nothing to do with nothing. She didn't want nothing at all with this bull crap. Still, they break it up. They try to walk out. Jazzy climbs out of the ring. And then at this moment, I was like, Gabby's about to walk out of the ring with her cowboy star. And also, she also had another trainer, woman with a interesting hairdo of herself wearing a cross, a Catholic cross, something for some reason. But as before she was about to walk out of the ring, Yumiko's trainer, SpongeBob, goes off to the mic, chants on Haba Haba for some reason, and the crowd laughs. She talks on, and the commentators are actually saying that they, like, what the commentators said, that they're saying that they're translating what she's saying in Japanese, saying, like, who are you? Get out of here. Like, is what they think she's saying. Jazzy's saying, come on. She's into the back of the area, down the ropes, next to a commentary bench with a bunch of wires. And in the background, there's a bunch of Japanese people with yellow caps on for some interesting reason. I don't know if that's a Japanese tradition of people wearing yellow caps. Let me know in the comments if that's possible. Still, she points out to the crowd. There's a person in the commentary just putting out his hands like this. He's just clapping, putting like this. And the commentators are just loving it, but I'm not. And Yumiko's trainer can't shut the heck up. Even Patrick Starr is already in the middle of the area, and she doesn't want no part of this. She's in the corner. Gabby's talking about this or that. I'll take both of you on or something. I don't get it. Like, what the heck? And now, as we thought this was going to be it, the referee, bald referee's in the middle of the ring, like, he's just being part of this because he knows this is BS, but he's just going to be part of the show because this is like a friggin' WWE show. What the heck is going on? Patrick and Yumiko are stopping SpongeBob from grabbing onto her, and Gabby finishes her last stuff. I don't care what she's saying. She climbs out of the rope, and then suddenly her female trainer waves to the crowd after she does that. What the hell are you waving to? And it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And as they're trying to grab, as Patrick and Yumiko are trying to grab on, Yumiko's headlocking her. Patrick is putting her to the corner rope, trying to stop SpongeBob from doing this. The camera cuts to Gabby just holding on, dancing on. She does a 360 dancing move, which is interesting for a 6'2" tall woman to do. So good dancing moves, by the way, at 31 years old. So not bad dancer. Dancing, having fun. They show the replay one last time of how the fight ended, the punch in the camera angle, that was different. They show replays of the bullcrap stuff. And then the camera cuts to Yumiko getting her arm around, well, mostly Patrick, the long hair woman with the yellow, is putting her arm around Yumiko, relaxing this or that, with SpongeBob behind their back in front of them. They're walking toward with the camera, and it ends with Patrick waving out the red handkerchief, something, towel with a water bottle, as I said before. She's celebrating. Yumiko turns around, hugs back her friend SpongeBob, and they both raise their hands. That's it. The next fight will be Dylan West versus Kazaiman. I just can't talk straight. And that's it. Like, this was the most ridiculous thing I've ever watched in my life. And even though we're at the 1 hour mark of this podcast, I just have to say this one last thing before it's over. how could you say, guys, this is 2016. We're coming to the end. Like, this was December 31st, 2016. So why was this fight legit? Why does this fight count as an MMA fight? Guys, I even saw a YouTube channel talking about how MMA fights in Japan were fixed. And it's true because of it. And talking about how this guy talked to Dave Meltzer about that over 90% of the fights in the 90s and such were all fixed. The YouTube channel is called MMA On Point. He made a video called The Secret World of Fixed Japanese MMA Fights. It's a fun video. Watch it. It's a year old. But man, oh man, when I saw this, I look back at it today and I say to myself, this is the most ridiculous thing ever. It goes to show you that there's so much stuff in the world that we don't know, and this counts as dumb. It's dumb. Like, people say that 50 or 60 years ago, the red light district of professional boxing was involved with conning sports and people taking a dive. Even in the 90s with Mark Gastonov and how that whole thing became a thing. And MMA fights in the 90s becoming fixed like this in Japan? And Gerard Gorget and that Yuki Nakai fight? It goes to show you, viewers, that there's a lot of stuff that I don't know. And this tops it is what MMA is. Now, I will say, though, guys, I don't hate Japan for what they do. And they are an entertaining promotion of MMA. They have a lot of entertaining boxers and professional wrestlers that are more dangerously entertained than what American wrestlers do. Hell, they even had Japanese wrestlers in the 90s and Toyota, forgot her name, Toyota, that did crazy stuff. She done high spots and other things in the 90s before female wrestlers in the 80s and 90s couldn't do dangerous stuff like doing hardcore stuff. Japanese females do hardcore stuff in wrestling and such. So they done more dangerous, crazy stuff. Like, there's reasons why there's a lot of Japanese females in WWE right now of how entertaining they are. I love Ikeo Sky and Kairi Sane and Asuka. They're great wrestlers. But when you put these people in MMA fights like this, it's really hard for me to look back at it and just say, man, I thought the Dan Severn and Matsunuga was bad, but I think there's a lot of things that I don't know about. And I think after watching MMA On Point a couple months ago, I'm starting to understand more than it is. So I think at the end of the day, we just have to get used to it and just understand what's happening as time goes on. Because at the end of the day, guys, people can say professional wrestling is fake, but at the end of the day, you can't say that professional boxing and professional MMA fights are not all shoots. Just like how John Tenter, Earthquake, taking on Katao in an SWS match in 1991, of how that wrestling match was fake. But then they later realized there were two sumo fighters, and when you watch that fight, you know it was real. It goes to show you, viewers. Or even that match against Dirt Bike Kid, went to Japan and he got his ass beat by someone. Yeah, I think it goes to show you there's more to this than meets the eye. But anyway, guys, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching this full 1 hour podcast of the Mr. Gloat podcast. We'll just have to see what happens the next few weeks when the Olympic Games comes to an end, guys. But thank you, viewers, for watching this episode. And with that being said, the Fox Wolf is out.